When you're talking to somebody in a room, do you feel that you're very, very memorable? Do you feel that they're thinking about you after you leave the room? Or are you somebody who's just another guy or just another girl, just another person, kind of like a non-player character that people just can't remember? What would you say that you are right now? Well, if you're somebody who has a lot of energy, kind of a unique energy signature about you, you're gonna love this video because it's gonna help you to take it to another level. But if you're somebody who lacks that, and maybe you're getting passed over for promotions, or maybe you're getting passed over for social opportunities or dating opportunities, if that's happening to you now, this is also gonna be mission critical for you to watch this video, because me, my friend Greg O'Gallagher, Kino Body, you might know him from online, and my good buddies Jeff and Julian, we're gonna actually get together and kind of team up in forces here like the Avengers, and we're gonna bring an incredible tutorial on social skills and charisma, something I'm really excited about. I've actually been excited to release this video for a minute. You are going to watch this video and you are going to transform your entire life. I'm really, really excited for you to see this. On one side, there's gonna be this limited number of things that you're usually gonna hear, and you can have an understanding of the best way to field that, but there's another side to it too. If somebody's very attractive or high value who you're speaking to, they're also hearing the same things over and over as well. And most likely you're saying those things to them. So not only are you probably at a certain level failing to anticipate what's gonna get thrown at you, but you're probably throwing the same generic stuff at higher value people also. Need to become aware of that and learn how to have a couple curveballs in your repertoire. If you're looking at this video and you're thinking, how could I get in the audience in this video? I wanna tell you something. This was actually a completely free event that we put on. We paid all the money to be there for the room and everything, flew everybody in, and everybody who went there actually went completely for free. They didn't pay one penny. We do these all over the country.
Owen here has completely changed my life. Not to get too negative, but there was a point in my life where I didn't really want to live anymore. And Owen and all the other mentors that I found with this company, through my networks, through my friends, have just completely turned everything around for me. So, you know, I've lost 65 pounds twice. I've 10x my net worth. I've 10x my dating life. I've just completely changed in so many ways that I never thought I'd be able to. Thanks to Owen, thanks to...
In your effort.
Yeah, all of everything. So
Thank you, brother.
I'm just so happy to be here.
I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I was actually a +1 for my buddy Tim here, and it was honestly a surreal experience, and it was a life-changing thing. The network, the energy, just the charisma, all the different speakers, it's just different, I'm speechless, like seriously. You did incredible up there.
We've been doing it a minute now, so
yeah.
We're just cranking it. So.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to come to more events.
So if you'd actually like to come to an event like this completely for free, my next ones are gonna be in Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Austin, Boston, Washington, D.C., San Diego, Los Angeles, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and I'm gonna come back to Philly and back to New York. I actually just finished up a couple amazing ones in Philadelphia, New York, and I'm really excited to get back on the road. So I'm back on the road doing these. If you're seeing these even in the future, click the link below and see if I'm back on the road. And when I go do these, the reason I do them for free is because I like to record content online, right? Content to post online. But at the same time, I only post the highlights. And there's an entire course that I take you through when you actually show up in person that you'll never ever see unless you show up to the actual event. So if you'd actually like for me to take you through a transformational course, and this is a course that's going to completely change your life. It's a course that I've worked on for about 20 years. It's very, very exercise driven. Then get yourself out to a free event, click the link below, and I'm excited to meet up with you. Now, as soon as you click that link, I'm going to send you a completely free course, and the free course is something that easily could be sold for a couple $1,000s and is totally, totally for free as well. Click the link, and as soon as you sign up, you get the free course. The free course goes very, very deep on the original social skills that I've always taught, but also it goes very, very deep on the powerful fundamentals of personal growth. A lot of things that for me are kind of an unconscious competence, but I promise you don't know, and it's really holding you back. And you watch the course, it's going to give you a ton of clarity. It's very well structured and very well organized. Now, at the same time, if you're kind of depressed, you're like, man, I wish I could actually make it out to one of these events. I'd tell you to fly there, but if for some reason you can't, well, then I want to help you build your life out to the point that you could someday. Come and meet up with me and fly out. So in the meantime, what we can also do is a free one-on-one coaching call. And if you click the other link below, you're going to actually see the opportunity to do it completely for free, one-on-one coaching call. All you got to do is enter your phone number. And what's going to wind up happening is we actually send you the exact same course. Right now, you'll get that course. You can start learning from it, and we'll set up a free call as well. You're going to really love this call. And also, if you're coming to the free event, you might as well do the call too, because it's all just great value. So click those links below and get ready to change your life completely. Meet up in person, take on a lot of energy, have a great networking group. The networking group alone is half the reason for coming there. It's going to be awesome.
There was 100% things I wasn't really happy in and wasn't really taking action in. So coming here, I feel 100% I can go back hitting the ground running, and the resources have been insane. The experience has been insane. The bucket list has been ticked off, man. So yeah, going back to Scotland with a lot in the belt, 100%.
Right now, what you're going to do is lay back and enjoy this phenomenal, advanced, powerful, and fun video on the topic of charisma and social skills, you developing your unique energy signature. Enjoy. How many of you guys in this room are frankly just not memorable? People don't remember you. You go in there and you're just, they call it a JAG, just another guy. How many of you are just another guy, right? And this takes an honest effort to curate and to cultivate. It's not something that happens on its own. Yes, be yourself, but what does be yourself mean? It means that you look at your natural assets and the natural inclinations that you have, the natural ways that you are, but you've got to cultivate them, right? LeBron James, when he's playing basketball, he's being himself. He's built to be, this incredible basketball player. But being himself doesn't mean just sitting there derping, thinking that if he does nothing, he's going to be the best basketball player. He has to take those abilities that he has, and he has to polish them and excavate them. He has to learn different principles and learn how to maximize those principles. So this is an actual learning process that you have to give birth to. That is going to be a major focus today, which is charisma. We're going to give you all the content that you would basically need on that, okay? We're gonna start launching into it. The way that we've been teaching our focus, because we've been teaching so long, is in a way where all those original insights that a newbie would need, like somebody who has no clue what to do at all, that gets handled, but while going to another level, okay? Like back in the day, for example, I would teach guys, I would spend an entire day in seminar teaching them 1,000 different mental understandings. For example, say how to talk and talk. Is that a big issue for a lot of you guys? Like, you just don't know how to talk and talk? Anybody ever feel that way? So I would explain it from, for 8 hours of seminar, I'd explain how to talk and talk. You know what I realized over time? I could make an exercise that would cover that in 8 minutes, and then would also take them to a level about 20 times higher than when I explained the whole freaking seminar. So that's been a lot of the evolution in our teaching. It's like we do it in a way where it's faster, and we'll do a lot of this with you here tonight. It's faster, but even though it's like the next level, like levels way beyond, if you're completely new and you have no idea how to do any of this stuff, this will actually cover that even better.
Like witticisms, bars, retorts, like that's kind of the thing I'm known for. That's like my strength. But when people would ask me about this, they'd say, well, okay, Jeff, how do I get better at that? How do I get more witty? How do I develop that? I would say two things. This is my boilerplate response. Number one, like there's two sides to the coin. Number one is something that we call invisible threads. You guys ever heard of that? Show of hands. You know what invisible threads are? Okay, very few. So very briefly, what that is as follows. It's this idea that in a given interaction, there's an infinite number of things someone could say. Right, within the confines of the English language and the permutations of the words and everything. But for all intents and purposes, it's an infinite amount. Like they could say anything. Within that infinity, there's a finite range of things that they usually do say. So if you've been going out for 10 or 20 years like we have, what happens is, I know that if I go out and I say this, they could say anything, but they'll usually say this, or this. And you've heard all of these hundreds, if not thousands of times. So for each one of these, let's say they say this. They say this, I've already got 4 to 5 responses teed up in my head. Each one imparting a different emotional tenor to the interaction depending on which way I want to take it.
And so what he's showing you here, this is so important because on one side, there's going to be this limited number of things that you're usually going to hear, and you can have an understanding of the best way to field that, but there's another side to it too. If somebody's very attractive or high value who you're speaking to, they're also hearing the same things over and over as well. And most likely you're saying those things to them. So not only are you probably at a certain level failing to anticipate what's going to get thrown at you, but you're probably throwing the same generic stuff at higher value people also. Need to become aware of that and learn how to have a couple curveballs in your repertoire.
Yeah, and you develop your own stuff. I mean, it's good sometimes to use sort of crutches of other things that have worked in the past, at least to guide the way, but eventually you want to make it your own. So that's one side, is developing that knowledge of the invisible threads, which kind of gives you, to the layman at least, the net effect is you always appear to have a better answer. You just look like this super witty, on-the-ball person who's got all these retorts, right? So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, and this is equally important, but a little more ephemeral or nebulous, if you will, is the idea of letting go of needing it to be good. Now, this is kind of difficult, right? We'll do an exercise sometimes that, in the hot seat program, where we'll do a letting go exercise. where we'll just have you clear your mind. Just sit there and clear your mind and allow thoughts to bubble up. And whatever bubbles up, you simply say it. So if I were to do it right now, okay, let's see. Penguins, Taco Bell, octogenarian, irascible, edification, edamame, President Barack Obama, lobster, tangerine, echidna, raccoons, morose, paparazzi, incandescent, vitriolic. Like I could literally I could stand up here for 10 hours doing that. Now, some people, when it comes their turn to do the exercise, they can't do it. Like they're literally just, okay, go. They're like, cat, shoe. What's happening there? What's happening internally? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Just throw it out. There's like this self-judgment, this constant filtering of, is it going to be good enough? What if I say something that reveals something embarrassing about how my psyche works, or sounds weird, or causes judgment? So this, again, the way that this manifests when they're interacting with people, stifled, don't know what to say, prejudging. If I say this, I'll look silly. If I say this, it could cause this problem. Or generalized judgment, like I suck, which becomes internalized, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just this ongoing process.
What's also happening is that there's a lack of lateral thinking. People they're in their nerd mode where they're trying to get from nerd to nerd to nerd to nerd to nerd. You've got to get into swag mode where you can be a little bit more lateral and playful and kind of let it come to you. It's also trying too hard to control everything. Rather, okay, you're in your control muscle, you got to go in your release muscle, and it just sort of comes up. Okay, people that are very charismatic, they've got that lateral thinking, and it's that lateral thinking that provides the wordplay. Okay, most people, their wordplay is extremely boring, and if you're going to have very, very boring wordplay, that's fine, but then maybe give a little bit of energy behind it. Okay, there can be energy behind what it is that you're saying. You can change in cadence. So you could use boring wordplay, but you could have very charismatic cadence, shifts in cadence, shift in energy. You could go into staccato. You could go into drawing it out, even if what you're saying is boring. Or you could use wild wordplay. You have the mane of a fine stallion. While they're like, these funny little, like the word mane, a fine stallion. You go talk to somebody like that, they're going to be floored in most cases, right? So there's always that kind of, there's always that kind of clever wordplay, or you can default back to some kind of clever lateral thinking. But the challenge is, like what he said, is that you're judging yourself. You literally believe that this wordplay that you're using, or maybe this energy or change in cadence that you're using, or change in tone that you're using, is not good, and you're going to be judged for it. So what you do is you play it safe, and when you play it safe, you're playing in the middle of the herd, and at the middle of the herd, nobody remembers you, and nobody cares. What we've got to start to do is shift it to where you feel unsafe being at the middle of the herd, because you're not going to get what you want out of life, and you actually feel more safe out of your comfort zone. I know you talk a lot about that too, feeling safe out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, with charisma, it's realizing that everyone already has it. Like right now, you have charisma, and trying to go out and then controlling it, like Owen said, where, ooh, let me learn the little lines, let me say that. It's pretending like you don't have charisma and reinforcing that you don't. Charisma isn't something that you build or control, it's something that you unleash. Say you take someone who plays video games, you put them out in a social setting, they're probably pretty awkward, right? They're walking around, they're very stifled. If you talk to them, we're like, hey, so what did you do today? Not much, I touched the controller. Anything else? Don't know, and walks off, right? Extremely awkward. They try to order something, they're in line at the grocery store, super awkward. Yet, when they go home...
Can I pause you? I want to show them what you did. Let's break down what Julian just did before he finishes. I'm going to kill this guy here, okay? Yeah. First of all, okay, hear how he just even said the word yeah, like that, okay? He used an accent. Second of all, when he's, okay, let's look at the imitation that you used on the guy that touched the controller. Can you I'm going to totally put you on the spot here, because you're totally taking you out of your flow. Can you show that little imitation that you did, the controller? Let's get you guys doing it a little bit, okay?
With the nerd?
Because everything you said Julian you got to remember, you've got veteran public speakers up here at the front. So you should be looking at what it is that we're doing, okay? If I go veteran, just say that word veteran like that. Veteran, there's an emphasis. Public speakers. Okay, I'm exaggerating it, right? Or he goes, yeah, like that. Yeah. Okay, this is cadence. It makes you remember.
Range.
A range. Okay, look what he did. Look what he did, okay? There's a range. Just do that. There's a range. Okay? right? Because, okay, here, come up here, come here, okay? Okay, just come up here, okay, say hi to the crowd right now. Hi. Okay, yeah, there's some good energy there, right? Okay, say, there's a range.
There's a range.
A range.
Range.
Go, range.
Range.
Do that. Yeah, whatever you want, however you want to do it.
Range.
Range. Just go range.
Range.
Go range.
Range.
There's a range.
Range.
Go, there's a range.
That's a range.
There's a range.
Range.
Let it range.
Range.
There's a range. There is a range. There's a range. You're not using your range. You're not using your range. Do that.
Me?
Do it. Yeah.
You're not using your range.
Yeah. See how it's memorable. See that? Yeah. Okay, that was awesome. That was great. You see what we're getting at here? When you watch us speaking, observe these things. We're here to learn about charisma today, so take note of it.
And the thing is, so observe us, but we observe you as well, and we do it every weekend. And when you were up there, at that end, when you said to him, when you yelled at him, like I said, it was a very free flow of energy. There was no entanglement, there was no inhibition. But beforehand, I could see, and I could probably point out exactly where you were holding the physical tensions. Because what happens is, your intellectual mind starts to prejudge, and so your intellectual mind calls into play the kinesthetic part of your body to act as the enforcer, to act as its enforcer. Because the intellectual part sees any expression of emotion as threatening. It is threatening. We've been conditioned to feel that way, and some emotions are more threatening than others, depending on, early traumas and things of that nature. But it's just generalized societal conditioning against expressing emotion. So your brain says this is threatening in some way, and calls the body into play. Like I sense a lot of glottal tension and possibly some tension here. I can almost probably pinpoint exactly where he was holding the tension. You probably didn't even realize it. Why? Because these tensions are sub-threshold. They're not part of your awareness. So again, what I've started to do is develop an exercise process where we can isolate each area, strengthen it, remove tensions, then reintegrate into an overall projective energy system, right? So what I really started to think about was, how does this human energy system, if we can call it that, what is the functioning of that? And what are its capacities for the most full, whole kind of charismatic social interaction, right? And in doing so, come to a better understanding of myself in the process, okay? That's my purpose, is to help you to help myself. That's why we do this. Do you understand that? Yeah. That's why we continue to do this.
Finish your point, because I totally killed you there.
Video game thing?
Yeah, then I want to hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, no, the video game thing. So that person could be very quiet. And I assume actually just based on this, you're actually pretty quiet yourself. However, this is really good. So you had that glimpse. So that video game kid is going to go home, back to, that kid's room in the dark, has the video game, puts on the headset, and as soon as that headset is on, what happens? That person turns into the most charismatic person you've ever heard. It goes from, just the groceries, to, here we go, and boom, turns it on, and it's the most loud mouth, cussing and stuff. People be like, who is this person? You would not recognize them. So it's not that it's missing. And what is that person going to do? Well, I guess I'm just not charismatic, so I'm going to look up the tips and tricks and lines. It's how can I unleash that? How can I bring the video game me out in the real world? And we all have that. You all have a situation where you are charismatic. It could be with your family. It could be with your close friends. It's usually, as Jeff was saying, with people you feel entitled to be around, deserving to be around. You talk to someone who you believe is the same level as you, or you're outside of their league, and you don't run out of things to say. Yet as soon as, that person's a little above me, you freeze. And it's not about, I'm freezing, now what? Let me learn the line, and then say the line in this very frozen way, which, again, we've seen for years. It's say the thing, and it's hello. It's again, the little video kid. Hey, nice to meet you. And it just fails again. And that kid who keeps believing, maybe it's just the wrong line. I just got to say something a little better, hoping that it'll work. It's not going to work. Why? Because you sound like the video game kid. Instead, it's tuning into, wait a minute. Why am I frozen? What is blocking me from being frozen? How can I unleash this? And there is that fear of being seen, you know, just as a kid where it's like, oh man, if people hear me sing, they'd probably all mock me in class. Here's the same thing. What is showing charisma? It's showing part of you that is extremely authentic, that is extremely personal to you, and it is putting yourself out there. It's supercharging who you are. Right now, am I being seen? Yes. Most people will not want that. We all want to be cool, yet, oh, there's the pressure, there are the stairs. I don't want the stairs. No, you better get used to the stairs, and you better dive into those blockages. You better identify what is blocking this from coming out. And then, of course, you can force it at times. You know, we call it fake it till you make it. I like saying it's act real until you remember. Right now, this whole be yourself, it's misinterpreted because we think that we know who we are. Like if someone told that video game kid, again, back on the video game kid, you know, be yourself, what's that kid thinking? I guess this is me being me.
Yeah, because you start to identify the repression with the actual expression of the emotion.
That's a great, you know, I've taught social dynamics for 20 years, and that was the most succinct way of putting something that I already knew. You began to identify with the repression.
Yeah, and then so you feel the emotion, but rather than expressing it, you repress it, and over time, you equate the repression with the actual expression of the emotion.
Then you hear be yourself, and you're like, this is me.
Yeah, the repression is me.
It's this fake front that you've confused as you.
And sometimes when it's just like it's awkward and you pull, like you're not having the best time, you pull back and it's uncomfortable. They get that chance to win you over, and then they're like so sold. So like I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
I think perfectionism is a huge limiting, or I guess counter conditioning that we all experience. You know, this idea that it has to be perfect or else it won't work, right? You have to thread the needle or else it won't work.
By the way, are you guys all on his Instagram or no? Yeah? Pull out your phone right now. He's got an incredible, some of you guys don't even know who's sitting here. Pull out your phone right now if you're not on it, okay? Pull your phone out. He's got incredible stuff on there. Okay, he volunteered to pop in today, so I thought that was very cool. Okay, we've known each other for years.
You should add me because he has more than me. So.
Yeah, get your phone out. Is it Grego Gallagher now?
You can find me at Grego Gallagher on Instagram, GREGOGA, and I'll come up by that point.
Okay, Greg, because I think fitness is amazing, but I can't really teach it. So sometimes we gotta like offer some other resources, okay, outside of our scope. Yeah, but what were you saying too?
Well, I was going to ask him, in terms of charisma, he's a perfect example, because if you follow his Instagram, what's in his stories? It's him literally just staring into this. And how awkward is that? There's no feedback. You're talking into this little plastic thing, and he just brings out, again, like the inside jokes, the charisma, what do you say, like the posh stuff, like the pish posh thing I've seen? Yeah. It's like there's a perfect example of like bringing that out, you know?
Thank you.
How do you feel when you're, because a lot of you guys in here need to learn how to make a story, am I right? On your social media? How many of you have already a pretty solid story? Put your hands up.
By the way, this year, just to pause, catch yourself, okay? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Notice how he asks you, like, anyone here have trouble doing a story? And what's everyone's like? What about, yeah? Or at least show some humanity, okay? If you want to judge your charisma, think of it like this. Your general vibe, if say you were looking at yourself from the outside, your general vibe is probably how your sex is. If you're talking to someone and you're like, or you're in the crowd, what's sex with you like? Like for real, that's what you're communicating. If you're going up and you're like, hello, what's sex with you like? Like that, it's, come on, where's the humanity? Where's the passion? Where's the life? Wake up. Is that really, are we in the room of like the worst sex ever? If everyone's just like, no, like, did you like it? Let's do it. You're like, come on. Some life.
What would you say adds some charisma into your story, by the way?
Insta story? Well, I think you said this in a long, old video. It's like your emotional state dictates what the viewer feels. I think you told me this. So if I'm feeling really, really, really passionate, then you're gonna feel that exact same passionate. So if you're doing the Insta story and you feel nothing, the viewer's gonna feel nothing. Same thing with conversation. So you wanna put yourself in that emotional state. You want to tap into it. My best videos, it's when it's like right, you know, something I'm thinking about right then and there, and the passion's there, and then if you wait too long, you don't film it, it comes off contrived. And then there was one other thing you told me when we hung out last time, and you're like, people on Instagram, they just want to fucking laugh. And so when I get the most engagement, the most responses, it's like 33%, in your words.
Silly, we'll go with silly.
It's 33% just crazy, and then you can put it like, focus on whatever you need to post if you're running a business stuff, but throwing in a little bit more of the crazy stuff just gets way more engagement.
Yeah, the big joke of it is that people will think that you need to have this baller lifestyle in your story, when in fact, anytime that we've used that exclusively, it actually hurts us. Meanwhile, when we never bring that up for months at a time, and we're just out having fun and being goofy, that's when you get a lot of different responses. People, say this after me, people want to feel. Say that. People want to feel. It's a major, major thing. Major. And that's how they remember you. I've done videos where I have some of the most incredible content. I spent a decade working on that content. And then I'll put in some silly nonsense like me like jumping up and down on like a glass floor and being like, rah, 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 and that's all anybody remembers. I once did this, like, did you guys ever see the Destroying the White Knight video? Anybody ever see that? That was from the most intense content. It took me almost a decade to make that content. Nobody remembers it, but they're like, oh, you destroyed the White Knight. Oh, that's awesome. I'm like, what about the shots in Seattle? What about the content? They're like, yeah, I remember that. That's probably pretty good. But that White Knight, that's all that they want. That's all that they remember. They remember the emotions. Most people, they remember what they feel from you a lot more than the actual content. It's like you could read a book, you remember how much you liked it, you remember 2 or 3 points, that's it. For example, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Robbins. I probably spent $30,000 on his events. It's been very helpful. That said, if you ask me what the 6 human needs are, that's the most basic thing in Anthony Robbins training, and I can't remember it. Does anyone here remember the 6 human needs in Anthony Robbins? Yeah. And yet most of you guys have studied it. It's like certainty, uncertainty, or something. But I do remember Anthony Robbins' energy, his passion. I remember that when he speaks, I want to be a part of it. That's why I love the training that we do now in Charisma, is we get you doing exercises and get it hardwired into your system so you don't have to memorize everything. We want you to understand it intellectually, but more important, we want to hardwire it right in your system. That way you don't even have to think about it, and you can literally just sit there and have it flowing out of you, and then you have that kind of energy.
It's like the music's happening through you. It's not to get too esoteric about it, but it's almost like you're accessing a higher order of energy and allowing it to project through your system.
Yeah, the less of you is in that, the better. And that's why you were saying before, like, trying to be perfect or overthinking will hurt you. You know, it's like, okay, here we go, let's try this charisma thing. But by overthinking it, you take out the magic. The less you think, the more you allow it to happen through you. You know, you can, the better.
That means 2 things. Number 1, you have to learn to master the external communicative tools, right? And then you have to also then learn to allow your mind to discern but not overjudge. You have to learn to allow the emotional process to happen through that, and then also start to open yourself up to higher orders of like intuition, right? Because when you're speaking, like when I'm speaking right now, I'm not thinking of the words I'm going to say. They're happening. I'm not thinking of the musicality of the language that I'm going to use as I deliver it. That my vocal mind has its own intuitive process that creates that. It knows how it's supposed to sound to me. And I've opened myself up to those energies, and that's why we're able to be expressive up here.
Yeah, and with, sorry, one last thing.
Yep.
And with no warm-up either. And I find it so funny when people are like, well, I have, a very logical day at work, and I go out and I got to warm up, and it takes hours to access this. I'm like, hours? You should access it in a second. What's this hours? And then it's like, well, it's easy for you to say. It's like, no, the behind the scenes of our job, of my job, is like you. I'm like, on a computer, extremely logical work. You ever see the old memes where it's like, what my friends think I do, what my family thinks I do, and then it's like, what I really do? It's like, what do I really do? It's just me like that, on a plane,
or in like,
over,
or on an airplane, or on some airplane.
And it's so crazy too, because you'll see these guys out at, say, clubs with their Lamborghini outside or whatever else. And those things are awesome. I love all those toys. They're the best. And having money is the best. But that being said, most of those people who you see in there using money are compensating for not having this. And this is a lot more effective at making an impact than some bland person wearing a Louis Vuitton pair of shoes and maybe having a fat crib. This is what actually makes the social impact. Like, just try yelling loud. Show me what that would sound like. Ah! Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. So you're doing, you probably just blew your voice out. Probably, yeah. Okay, but I like that you tried.
You know what? I always watch the videos when you do that, and I'd feel so bad for the dude, because it's like,
so if you,
right now I feel constricted.
So if you're like, hey, see, try going loud.
Yeah.
See, it's constricted. You guys see that?
It is.
You see the constriction?
I can feel it.
Yeah. What's that?
It's inside voice.
Inside voice. Yeah. That's interesting. I never heard that expression. And I love how you expect me to know what that means. But yeah. So what? I'm kidding. So what is that? I give him shit because he can take it. He doesn't care at all. Yeah, I have friends like you that they just don't get. You can bust their balls, they don't care. So yeah. So what's the inside voice then?
Like you say, use your inside voice.
Oh, inside. Okay, I thought you were saying like how they sound in their inner self, but.
You're trying to project your voice, but you're trying to also use your inside voice, so they kind of conflict each other.
Got it. Okay, I never thought of that. So that's. Remember I said I come here to exploit you guys so I can learn more? That would be an example of learning more. Okay, so I also come to free tour events as like a self-therapy. So, okay, so basically, that's me at like 12% or something, right? So what I'm doing is I'm in release, okay? You want to try? I'll get some girls to try it here.
I'm not going to try it just because I'm a teacher, so I literally have no voice.
So by the way, you need more help then, because I promise you I'm teaching way more than you are, okay? My average event...
That's 1,000% true.
My average, so look what's happening to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I could show you how to fix it probably. Okay, come up here, I'll show you how to fix it. Okay, so... Okay, we'll make a dent in it, okay? We'll make a dent in it. So basically what you're doing is okay, so in social interaction, you have what's called your control muscle, and you have what's called your release muscle, okay? Control and release. So what I do, I worked really, really hard in the past couple years, so I had to train myself not to overexert, okay? Like I'm gonna do a crazy program this weekend, so I didn't overexert at this event right now. So you have to train yourself not to overexert. So say that I wanna go as loud as I can, but the key is I'm not allowed to exert, okay? So say I go, so see how loud that is? But I'm not exerting almost at all. You see that? I'm kind of playing with it there. Okay, you see what I'm doing there? I'm just playing around with it a little bit. Okay, I'm opening it up a bit. So I'm not exerting myself. You see that? I'm not trying. I am not trying. Hey. Okay, I'm not trying. You see that? Yeah, I'm not trying.
No, me watching you, I'm like, I can tell you're not doing anything differently.
Yeah.
Your body is perfectly the same, and yet here I am, ravaged.
So we've got to show you. Ravaged. Okay, so we've got to show you how to do, okay. So it's like you're trying to take a crap and you're tightening your cheeks and then you're trying to push it through. That's basically that's what you were doing, right? You were trying to, it's like you're tightening and you're trying to push it through. So you've got to go like really, really just like, try just like being like almost like half asleep. Okay.
Oh, should I do?
Yeah, you could try.
Hip.
She's actually hitting it a bit. Can you see it? She's hitting a little bit of it. Yeah, a little bit, right? So what we're doing right now is we're not really trying. I'm not going tense. My body's not tensing up. I'm like a marathon runner. Because if I do a 40, 50-hour event, I can't tire myself out or I'll run out of gas. So I have to be, it's always like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So if I'm talking, I can keep it at like I can make it where I can project, but with no effort. I don't want any kind of tension. I'm just singing. I try to play with it when I start. Yeah, so I don't want to have any kind of tension, right? I don't want tension. Have any of you here been at events that I have like hundreds of people in the room and like no mic and you can hear me from the back? Anybody been at those? Right? It's pretty freaky, right? Yeah, it's freaky stuff. Like even when I'm doing it, I'm like, whoa, like this is pretty cool. So yeah, so you want to get it like, just relax. Try that.
Can you do it again?
Yeah, she's hitting some of it, right? It's actually not hitting that like pain point on her, right?
Oh, see, I can't do that one. That one feels tight.
It doesn't have to be like me.
Okay, well, do it again.
Okay, do it again. Hey, do it again. Hey, do it again.
Hey.
Yeah, see, she can get around it actually. She just doesn't know how to sustain it. She can get it in bursts, but she doesn't know how to sustain it. Try just walking the crowd a bit. You can come with me.
Okay.
And just be like, hey. You got it. Okay, it's good. Do you sing or no in part of what you do? Do you want to show or no? Is that a lot of pressure?
Please.
Yeah, I totally can. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you do some singing. I don't mean to put pressure on you. He's more used to singing in a different context, so I don't know how he's going to feel. Yeah, you can come up. Yeah, you can come with us too. We can be a little gang up here. Yeah. Okay, he's getting, actually you're going to learn something right here because you have the talent, but the mind needs to change a little bit.
Yeah. So something also too is like you said, that thing of walking the crowd, just getting in front of.
Okay, so here let's walk. Okay, so give us a little more. Let's give it a little more. Yeah, you're getting there, but then you're cutting yourself off. Let's give it a little more. Little more. No, but it doesn't. So by the way, it doesn't matter if your voice is sore. If you're in release, you can usually keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to release it. You can't. So the thing is, if I do a weekend event, right? Say I talk for 5 days straight. If I have any cortisol bursts in my body, what's going to happen is I'm going to get inflammation. Okay, now I'm going to have cortisol either way, to be fair, but I have to be careful to manage my inflammation. Okay, so if I'm like smashing too hard and I'm like forcing it, my body's going to get so inflamed. I don't mean to make a sob story, but I'll wake up and my knees are sore and like I can barely walk because my whole body's so freaking inflamed. And to be fair, no matter what I do, I'll probably get that because I go so crazy. But I've learned to like stretch it out. So on one level, you can like bang, like force it. But in the other level, you want to ask yourself, if I completely relax and I just sort of let it come out, like I'm even too tense now. Like I'm even, okay, I'm even, sorry, one sec. Because I really want to help you, so I'm getting tense. Okay. Okay, so we want to get it. We want to ask, how can we get it to where we're hitting the back of the room very, very easily? I'm going to hit the back of the room with no effort at all, and you're going to hear it completely clear, but it's not going to sound like I'm yelling. It's going to sound like this is just how I talk. This will actually sound normal. You won't even realize that normal people, you would barely be able to hear them from up here, right? Because we're at the end of a far room. How well do you hear me right now at the very back? Okay. Okay. So you want to be able to modulate your voice in a way where a lot is coming through, but you're not forcing it.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like if you look at the tension of my body, just playing around with it here a little bit, okay? This is me at like 15 or 20%.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so try just doing what we're doing, okay? Yeah, he's getting it. And if you want, add a little force on it, like you can tense a bit just to feel the difference, but don't rely on the force as a crutch.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna go, like you do a little bit more, but don't go too crazy. Yeah, so see how, notice how as soon as he forced it, what happened? So I've had it. I'll tell you something funny, okay?
To be fair to you, I have been singing a lot. I was in the studio all last week too, so I have been singing a lot. But
No
but
excuses.
but
Well, here's what's cool though. So
what he's saying though is totally accurate. Is the more you can relax it and release it, the
But notice too that both of you are hoarse, you from teaching, you from singing, and if you go in your old habits, you instantly start to crack.
Yeah.
But if you stay in your newer habits, you won't crack.
Yeah.
So I've had it, okay, and you really cracked there.
Yeah.
I've had it, okay, move over a little bit. I've had it where I'm doing an event and I can feel like, it's kind of funny, right? Like I've got like, $150,000 in students in the room. Some of them flown in from across the world, okay, imagine this, okay? And like I can tell that if I do one wrong vocal thing, my voice is out for the weekend. Like, because maybe I've been doing so much public speaking, right? I've been traveling, public speaking. Maybe my diet slipped up a little bit, which is bad too if you do that, right? You'll really regret it if you eat inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
So you got to really be on top of it. He's probably is. So basically, and literally in my mind, like I'll be talking in front of this room, like big, huge room, voice is really great. And in my mind, I'm like, if I go tense for even 1 second, I'm literally gonna have to like whisper this entire program into a microphone. Like I'll be like, hey, what's up? Like that, right? And I'll hold that for like a couple days. Like, oh my God, right? It's so stressful, but it's cool because like it's like Hanukkah, you know, like you're like the oil has to last for 8 days, right? You're like, please, you know, right? Like you're just wanting your voice to, it's like hanging by the last thread, and I'll just say, and what I do is like I just stay so relaxed. I stay so relaxed, and I'll just make it all the way through, and I'll time it so it goes out right at the end. You know, like right at the end, it'll go out. And it's funny because I have no choice at moments like that. And it's funny, like when you have a choice to relax or not, you might slip up because you kind of have a choice. But when you know, like the next time that you get tense, like that's it for the weekend, and all these clients are going to be mad, it actually creates great habits. Right? It's like if you had to like, you know, learn to dance around the edge of like some sky-rise building the whole weekend, you know, you're just like, you know, right? You're like, you're gonna walk really well. And to be fair, much like walking on the edge of a high-rise building, it's not that hard to walk straight, right? Like if right now, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna walk a straight line, like I can walk a straight line. It's not really that hard to do. With a high-rise building where it gets scary is knowing that if you slip a little bit, you're screwed, right? And then you start to panic, right? So if you get used to walking on a high-rise building, you would just get really relaxed and you'd put all your awareness right on where you're walking. Well, that's how I felt with my voice was I'm like, okay, well, if I blow this out, I'm done. So I've got to be perfect. So to be perfect, what most of us do is we get really tense. But what I learned to do was to really, really relax with my voice, right? So I would do that whole seminar really chilled out, just say very chill, focus on the ideas that I want to get across the audience, focus on their exercises, focus on the concepts, stay very relaxed, and I could get it the whole way. So that's really the main thing there is that you want to stay relaxed, right? So if I'm speaking with the audience, I'm going to stay in a very relaxed state. I'm not going to get tense. I have energy coming through, but I'm not going to let myself get tense, right? I'm just like, you know, I'm not exerting a ton of energy. And it makes you come across as a sharp public speaker, as a side note. Like, it makes you come across very, 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 very sharp because of the fact that you look so relaxed in what you're doing. So people will trust you more because you're not like, hey, hey, you know, right? Like, it looks more trustworthy, but also it saves energy and more power comes out. So that's like the general way. Try just moving through the crowd and be like, hey. Let's give it a little more. A little more. You too. Yeah, you can get it. Can you give him a hand? That's really good. Yeah, it's good. That's good, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's great.